How you doing over there, Juno? People can't see you, but everybody should know that Juno, very stressed. For what reason? She heard people talking. That's the reason. So, there we go. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. I am back again today with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is on Button Kingdoms. Now, Button Kingdoms was published by Around the Stump Games, and this game, like I mentioned, is coming to Kickstarter. So all of the information, details, links, everything you need to know is going to be in the description below. And just a shout out to Around the Stump Games for sponsoring today's video. Now, as per usual with my preview videos, I am going to give you a general overview of how the game works to help you figure out whether or not this is a good fit for you. But, of course, I must mention this is a prototype. So anything that you see can and may be subject to any kind of change, okay? And it's not final production, right? Because it's naked on the back. So we know that that means it's a prototype. But without further ado, let's dive into that preview, shall we? Let's do it. Button Kingdoms is a bribery-based deck-building game with simultaneous actions where players take on the role of child commanders of their own fantasy stuffed animal armies. That's the dream. The goal of the game is to build up your kingdom of fluffy fighters by collecting currency in the form of buttons and to seize the thrones of other players, while staying true to your character's own secret motives. But what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at how the game plays. As per usual, like I said with my preview videos, this will be a general overview of the game and not an official how to play. I just want to give you a good idea of how the game works to help you decide if it's a good fit for you. So with that being said, let's get started. Button Kingdoms is played in a series of rounds, and each round is made up of 6 phases, and those phases are the draw phase, the day phase, bazaar phase 1, night phase, attack phase, and finally, bazaar phase 2. You can actually see all of the phases outlined right here on the Button Kingdom Bazaar board, aka BKB. All right, so if you hear me say BKB, this is what we're looking at, but they're all right here, and you actually track them with this little duder right here. At the start of the game, you will be dealt 2 champion cards. You don't have to commit to one until later in the game, but I wanted to start by explaining the champions now, just so we're all on the same page. Now, champions, these cards right here with the red backs. Champions are the characters you are playing, and each champion has 2 key features: an ability for the night phase and an ambition for victory points. So let's take a closer look at a champion card. All right, we have so many different ones to choose from here, but let's look at the 2 that I have been dealt. I have the timid and I have the tamer. So there's probably going to be names where it says placeholder, but just so you know, there's a bunch of different ones. So here we have the, what does it say? The berserker instead of berserker. That's pretty funny. We have the hero. We have the tyrant. we have the Spy Master, we have the Brute, and we have the Empress. So lots of different ones that can be dealt out. So here in the white section, we have their ability, all right? So an ability that they can use during the night phase, which we'll get to later. So for the Timid, hers is 1 wall, 1 toll. Talk about those later. And here we have move a card from your discard to the top of your deck. So those are their abilities. And in the bottom, we have in blue their ambitions for victory points. So once again, with the Timid, we have 4 victory points for each wall or toll you have. Once again, we'll get there soon. And for the Tamer, we have 4 victory points for each uniquely named, this is a type of card that you have. So there's going to be different types of cards that we are going to be getting. And actually, so this one here, their ability, move a card from your discard. It's actually specifically this symbol right here. So that's what that symbol is there. And this is saying that you are going to get a victory point for each unique beast. I assume that those are beasts, but that is the ability. So that's how those cards are broken down. We'll come back to champions when we talk about the night phase. So stay tuned for that. Now, let's start with the draw phase, aka phase 1. And actually, let's track it like this. That'd be fun. We'll do that. All right. Each player will draw 5 cards from their personal deck. Now, their personal deck is going to be right here on our own player board. Now, I am currently set up for a 4-player game, but you are not going to see everybody's player board because space is at a premium. So just know these are the other players here, all right? So this is our personal deck, and each player will draw 5 cards, okay? That is going to be your starting hand. Now, the number of cards you draw may increase if you have any draw treasure tokens, which you'll collect throughout the game. During setup, each player will receive the same starting deck, and that deck will include 1 bandit, 2 farmers, 1 mason, 2 soldiers, and 2 urchins. Slidey. But don't worry, you'll get more cards as the game goes on because don't forget, this is a deck building game. Next, we have the day phase. Whoop, down to the day phase. During the day phase, you will select any cards from your hand that you wish to play during this phase. You will then place those cards face down on your kingdom board, which is right here. Now, every player is going to have their own kingdom board. They are laid out in the exact same way, but the art is going to be different and your player color will be different. So I am the blue player and my kingdom is Pillowmere, whereas the red kingdom is called Swinghold, the green kingdom Skyroost, and the tan kingdom Boxton. Those are pretty great names. I'm not going to lie to you, all right? So you're going to look through your hand and decide what you might like to place down in front of you. So let's just pick a couple. Let's play 3 in front of us. Why not? When all players are done, you will reveal the cards you played and resolve the day side ability of the cards that you revealed. When all players are done, you will discard the cards you played. Now, this is probably a good time to take a look at the anatomy of a card before we kind of give our example. Let's have a look at the urchin. Now, one symbol that you are going to notice that is in your starting deck is this button right here. That is just indicating that that is part of the starting deck. This symbol here is the class. So you will notice on all of the different cards, they have different types of classes. The class will determine where the card goes when it's bought. Then we have the day phase ability and the night phase ability. The day phase indicated by a sun, the night phase indicated by a moon. So you'll see all of these cards have that symbol in behind the text. Now obviously with your starter deck, it's going to be a little bit more straightforward than some of the cards that you are going to be building your deck with, but they all have the same symbols. So let's do an example of the day phase. I decided to play these 3 cards. Everybody else has done that. So now we are going to flip our cards up and take the day phase ability. So here I have 1 button, 2 walls, and 1 button. So we'll take buttons from the supplies. Remember, buttons are everything. You want buttons. So I'm going to gain 2 buttons and 2 walls. Now, up here in this fort section, these cards have one side says wall, and then the other side says toll. These we're going to be using to build out our forts, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If I want to get 2 walls, they say, when attacked, you may destroy this card, reduce the damage you take by 2. The next phase is the button bazaar phase. Number 1. Boop, bazaar 1. Here, you'll place one of your intention stones or eye stones, which I'll refer to them as going forward. You'll place those face down on each of your kingdom's button spots on the Button Kingdom's Bazaar board, which is right here. So you'll see your kingdom has button spots. So blue, I've got one here, here, and here. When all players are done, you will reveal the eye stones that you placed and resolve the market. Now, there are 3 types of eye stones in this game. We have buy, which are these green ones. We have sell, which are the numbered tokens, indicating that you are willing to sell that card for the value on the stone. And then we have boycott, which indicates that you would like for this card to be sent to the trash bin. That's a trash bin right there. Now, let's take a closer look at how to resolve the market, but obviously I'm going to need to do a little bit of a setup, so just give me a second here. Okay, so everybody has placed out their eye stone. So now when everybody is done, like I mentioned, we'll all reveal. So let's just flip all of these over to find out what everybody's intentions are. Ooh, scandal. First, the player who placed the lowest number eye stone on a recruit zone, which once again is here, is considered the seller of the card in that zone. In this instance here, that would be tan or brown. They placed a 1. Any player who placed a buy eye stone on a recruit zone that has a seller is considered a buyer. So we don't have any buyers here or here, but here we have both a seller and a buyer. So maybe we'll focus here. Each seller must choose a buyer who will buy the card. The chosen buyer must give the seller buttons equal to the number of the seller's numbered eye stone. Well, green wants 6, and tan, let's just say they have 6. So they might want to pay green in order to be able to purchase that card. So let's take it. If any cards remain in a recruit zone, check to see if there are any boycott eye stones in that zone. And if there is, you're going to destroy that card. And unfortunately, we had a lot of buyers here, but no sellers. We had a lot of sellers, but no buyers. But we did have a boycott in each of these, which means these cards are going to the trash bin, which is this pile right here. Getting the cards you want from the BKB is not as simple as just paying the price for the card. You also might need to convince the seller to choose to sell the card to you. One way to do this is through negotiation, which you can do by offering peace treaties, current or future sales, and future eye stone placements. However, I just want to mention you can't negotiate by giving the seller extra buttons, cards, or treasures, okay? So you can't give them like this physical thing that you have. If you buy a card during this phase, it will go into your discard pile. So let's just say that I had purchased this. The discard is right here on your board. Okay, so if you buy during this phase, it's going to go into your discard pile unless it's a spy card. This is an example of a spy card. The spy card you will see has this symbol right here with the green glowy creepy eyes. Spy cards are negative cards that will slow down and disrupt your efforts. When a player buys a spy during the Button Bazaar phase, they may choose to place it in any player's discard pile. What a freaking scandal. So let's just say that Boxton player, well, they don't like what I got going on here. So they may have purchased this card. I'm going to place that right into my discard pile. And just so you can kind of see what I mean by the negative effects, the daytime effects are -2 buttons, pay 1 spy, or in the nighttime phase, -2 buttons, pay 1 spy. And there's a bunch of different spy cards in the toy box. Yikes. After the market is resolved, all players must retrieve their eye stones by taking the following steps. First, all players take back their buy and boycott eye stones. So in this instance, I would take back these 2 stones here. Green would take back these 2 stones here. And red would take back these 2 stones here. Tan, you got these ones. All right. Then starting with the player who has the highest number eye stone, any player who didn't sell a card may choose to swap their numbered stone with the one in the flag space of the recruit zone. So you may have noticed that we have some of these sell stones here, these eye stones. So in this instance, the highest, which would be the 5, can choose to take that 7 if they like. So let's just say they did that. Then the 4 could choose to either just take their 4 back or switch it for the 5, and maybe they want to do that. So let's just say we did that. Finally, sellers must trade their numbered eye stone with the one in the flag space of that recruit zone. So let's say green ended up buying this recruit card. So they must trade, all right? So they have to, and now they have that lower number. Next up, we have the night phase. Time for bed. To start, you can reveal your champion. Now, you may reveal one of your 2 champions if you had not done so already. To do so, you're going to choose one of the 2 champions and flip it face up without revealing your other champion. This is now the champion you're playing as, and once your champion is revealed, you will then get to use their ability during each night phase. So let's just say I've kind of see how things are going, and I've got 2 walls already, so I'm thinking that the timid might be actually a good character for me. So let's do that. Remember, you don't have to do this. You can wait. You can kind of wait and build things up and see how things are going before you decide which champion you want. But just remember, you're not going to show anybody else who your other champion was, because that's secrets, all right? Like I mentioned, you then get to use their ability during the night phase, which is the next step. So champion abilities are now resolved. Then you will play all of the cards left in your hand face up and resolve the night side abilities of those cards, and finally discard the cards you played this phase after all players have resolved their card. Let's do an example here. First, I would trigger my champion. So I would get 1 wall and 1 toll. Let's do that. Then I would play the cards from my hand. Now, this is gonna be a great example for the next phase, which is the attack phase, but you'll see I have 2 soldiers, each with 3 attack. They are ruthless, those little kitties. So with that being said, let's move on to the attack phase. This is the only phase that is not simultaneous play. So starting with the player who has the highest valued number eye stone and concluding with the player with the lowest number eye stone, each player that has an attack, which you will see once again on the cards, will select another player to deal all of their attack damage to. That player will move their health cube that many spaces from right to left. So let's see here. Ooh, well, let's just pretend, because I have all the cards, let's pretend that I have the highest numbered eye stone. So I can choose anybody. And you know what? Me and Boxton, the tan faction, we're in a fight, and I'm kind of mad at them. I might want to choose to attack, which means I would hit them for 6. Now, obviously, I don't have their board, so let's do another example and pretend that they had an urchin out that they played during the night phase. Once it gets around to their turn, so it'll be 7, then 5, then 2, they're going to choose me and attack me for 1, and I will move my token further along this track, which you'll see at the end is death. When you are targeted for an attack, you may choose if you would like to use any forts, aka tolls or walls that you may have built. To destroy a fort, return it to the fort's zone of the BKB. BKB. Then gain the rest of the ability on the card. So let's take a quick look at how that would work using the same scenario. So once again, let's pretend that Buxton wanted to fight me with one attack. Now I've built up a pretty decent fort, if I do say so myself. So you'll remember we have walls and we have tolls. For the walls, when attacked, you may destroy this card and reduce damage you take by 2. For a toll, when attacked, you may destroy this card. The attacker must pay you a button. And I'm feeling kind of healthy, so I might like to do that instead. So I will discard, destroy my toll. It's just going to go back to the fort pile, and I will force Buxton to give me a button. Buttons are very important. When you deal enough damage to a player, you'll knock their health tracker onto or past a broken heart space, which you can see, boom, boom, boom. If you do, take a token from the treasure pile by the BKB. BKB, treasure pile. Ooh, fancy. You might also deal more damage than the player has health, and if so, you must take their throne. Yeah, this is Game of Thrones, which is this token right here. Okay, everybody's going to start with their throne, and this is what you want to do. You want to take other people's thrones, but what you don't want is for someone to take your throne, okay? And that is going to happen, once again, if you go past the death symbol. So the treasure tokens, I'm just going to show you these here. We have Empower Stones, which are these purple ones right here. And I will mention, of course, the game comes with some excellent reference cards. They are double-sided. One side is going to have all of your keywords for things you may need to know on cards. The other side is going to have some icons on it. So the Empower Stones let you take a card from the BKB when you acquire it, whereas the red one here, this allows you to draw an extra card each draw phase. Pretty freaking good. Once everyone has had the chance to attack, you will do another Bazaar phase, aka Bazaar Phase 2. This is going to work in the same way as that first Bazaar phase, all right? So you're just going to do the exact same thing. Once that's done, the round will come to an end. The game will end after any phase where more than half of the players, 2 in a 3-player game and 3 in a 4-player game, have lost their thrones. This will typically happen during that attack phase, which we just went over. Once the end of the game is triggered, you'll move on to scoring. You'll add your points in the following way. Thrones you possess are 10 points each. So if I had taken 2 people's thrones, I would have 30 points because I never lost my throne. I would never. Okay, so that would be 30 points right there. Then you'll look at champion abilities. So for the timid, my champion, I get 4 victory points for each wall or toll I have. So I'd have 4, 8, 12 based on what I have up in my fort. And then of course you will count your buttons and you're going to get 1 victory point per button. And obviously by the end of the game, I would have more than 6 buttons, but that would be 6 points. And my friends, that is Button Kingdoms. So I know what you're thinking. Please show me more of the adorable cards. And guess what? I'm going to freaking do that because they're so cute and I want to look at that. And then we're going to talk about who is this game for. All right, let's just look at some of these cards. Let's move some of this aside. If you're anything like me, you're just as interested in seeing this. We have the Collector. Collector is all about walls and tolls. We have the Smithy. We have the Bear. He's cute. Oh my God, we have the Steed. Adorable. We have a Knight. Cute. We've already seen the Soldier. We have a Jester. We've already seen that. We've seen the Bandit. We've seen the Knight. Oh, look at this one. The Behemoth. That's scary. I'm trying to show you. Oh, we have a Driver. The Driver's pretty cool. Cool bunny. We have a Marauder. We have a Sellsword, obviously. We've already looked at the Thief. We have a Sympathizer. That's one of the spy cards. We have a dragon. And the dragon is a dog dressed as a dragon. So cute. We have a Wyvern, which is a cat. We have an Assassin. We have, we've already seen a Saboteur. Baroness. We also have, I just want to get through all the cards. Engineer, I think, was up, but I'll show you again. An Informant. I think that's all the different characters, at least everything that I have in my prototype. I do have to say, obviously the dragon is objectively the best card because it is a dog dressed up as a dragon. Who is this game for? Button Kingdoms is for fans of games with high interaction, deck building, variable player powers, and bribery. You can't win cards unless you negotiate good deals for them. Unless you want to play a bit more of a chill game and you don't want to negotiate and you just kind of want to do whatever you want to do. I mean, you could do that, but negotiating is fun. So you will almost need to manipulate the players around you to strike up a good deal. The artwork is so cute. Obviously, you've seen it, but don't let that fool you. This is a competitive game, all right? Obviously, this is going to have some mean elements, as many high interaction games and competitive games have, because you are attacking each other, you're stealing buttons, you're taking each other's cards. It has a little bit of that like surprise element because you're placing your tokens face down and you might really, really want this card, but maybe nobody is trying to sell it this round. And this is also how you're working those deals. It's like, okay, well, next time I'll sell a card that you want and I'll make sure you get it and whatever it might be. So there is a lot of player interaction within this. And obviously a lot of strategy in the way that you build your deck because you are also trying to build a deck that is going to synergize well. And let's not forget about those pesky spy cards that you can screw people over with, which is great fun. But if Button Kingdoms sounds like something that you might be interested in, I would definitely recommend you click the link in the description below, follow along the campaign, back it if it sounds like something that you might be interested in, and check it out. Make sure you watch videos, you read reviews, you read the rule books, do all of the things that is going to help you make an informed buying decision, which you know we love. But that is everything that I have for you today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games, remember for Button Kingdoms, we are going to Kickstarter. But for other games that are currently out, you could check your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Goodbye! Do you know you gonna be okay? Okay. Those phases are the draw phase, the day phase, bizarre phase 1, night phase. I couldn't do a 4. Night phase, attack. Oh my God. Night phase. Oh, I've messed up. Let's try that again. Then obviously a lot of strategy.